Hello there, today we're talking differing opinions and controversial topics for this blue fella. Not a bad idea, I know, but I am as bold as a fly. In reality, though, it is intriguing going back and seeing what others were thinking then and what they were having debates on. It goes like this. I analyze the topics people had debates or different opinions on, then talk or potentially cover the reason behind them and spill out my own takes, as easy as it gets. So without further ado, let's get it started. Dr. Wily had made his own robot masters before, but did you know that he invented special ones? Meet the megaman killers. They are almighty, skillful robots designed solely to get rid of Mega Man. But wait, something is rather fishy here. There, better.
But, dude, Quint is a Mega Man killer! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark.
Well, how do you know?
Well, he fights Mega Man. Dumbass.
Yeah, and do not all robot masters fight Rock anyways? Look who is the dumbest now. Go back to your program. Well, the gist of the whole thing is that a lot of people believed, and I think they do still believe, that Quint is one of the purposely made Mega Man killers. The reason behind that makes a ton of sense, in fact. In the Game Boy World Mega Man games, in each game, you fight bosses you have fought before from the NES version. Throughout the story, one unique robot that you haven't seen before somewhere else shows up and fights you eventually. Anchor in World 1, Quint in World 2, Punk in World 3, and Blade in World 4. As you can probably tell, it seems like a pattern. But in reality, Quint is more special, sadly, because he's a futuristic version of Rock who is from a peaceful future. While he did travel forward in time, convinced his future and peaceful self to be swag and go evil again, then meddled with Rock until he met Quint. It is honestly a fair misunderstanding, since the game doesn't really tell you any information about it, in games that is, only on the manual. So if you went through the game empty, then congrats, you accomplished nothing except for a godforsaken high-pitched sound gate. To make matters worse, the naming scheme for the Mega Man killers and Quint are somewhat similar. They do not end with the word man like most of the others do, so they felt in fact connected. Oh wait, I forgot, he even appears again in Wily Star, the final word game, along with the other killers. Quint, you're really missing out. I said that some people might still consider him a killer still, and thoughtfully speaking, pretty sure it's because of the title killer there. Like, he is a special robot still, and was sent to deal with the present Mega Man, so that might be a real reason there. I have seen some others consider Terra from World 5 to be also a Mega Man killer, except he's not. That's an entirely different character. An ancient alien robot of course will be devastating, but I don't think it works that way. In Mega Man 10, there is a DLC where you can play as this fish and go on to defeat the Mega Man killers in their stages and obtain their weapon. And what do you expect? He appeared alongside them before. Except he's not this time. I bet he has been drunk sitting on a sofa glued to his wife or something. And, well, that pretty much emphasizes on the fact that he's not counted as a killer. It is honestly very sad in my opinions, but it is what it is for a poorly executed, plot-twisted character. People over the years immensely complained and considered Mega Man 8 to be a bad and atrocious game. Not as in a flawed entry in terms of aspects like bugs and graphics. In fact, the graphics in 8 are on point. And the bugs do not even occur unless you start fiddling with the game. Instead, fans talk negatively about the voice acting and the level design in 8. I saw some complaining about the weapons, and I think some people grumbled about the removal of the E-tanks too. Not sure entirely about that, but some others are still pretty fine with the game. Good on those people right there. So, let's see here. Complaining about the voice acting is one thing here. Sure, if the voice quality seems to be not of your liking, then it's fair for that. But I don't think it is enough that of a reason to provide a bad point about the game in my opinion. I see that the voice acting is sure not in its best days, but it works just fine. The voice expressions deliver, like with Rockman and Tinguman and Cloudman and all of them really. Their voices complement each other's well with each of their personalities. Talking about level design is way more subjective, however. I think it's mainly due to difficulty moments in the game, like Frostman's skateboard section that reoccurred in Wily Stage 1 and the infamous Astroman maze. But besides those famed entries, some of the level design in 8 feels rather clashing in a way. For one, some stages tend to be gimmicky or not as linear like the previous games, and in some moments you need to use a weapon to progress. Heck, you need to even use Mega Ball on the first wide stage boss to even continue. It's so George Orwellish. I still do not quite approve of those negative takes that led to many controversial takes about Mega Man 8, however. They tried a different approach and ideas, and in my opinion, they made the game environmentally better. Even if I agree that they broke the traditional and linear design a bit, I still do not hate it for what it is, and the game plays perfectly fine. I'm not also one of those who hate the sled section and the mazes in Mega Man 8, because again, it is environmentally good. They are challenging at that also, and that's what makes platforming games. You don't consider just jumping and shooting around without an added thematic and challenging flair to be enough? Where is the fun in that, huh? That's like adding cornflakes without milk in it. Are you a monster? As for the weapons, they all have distinctive and useful properties, plus they are super fun to use. And I don't care much for the E-Tank's removals since I'm kind of a try-hard guy, but would still appreciate them. What I don't see people talk about much is the under-par story of Mega Man 8. The game focuses on a sort of a raw energy that Wily uses. Wily says that he would use it for his robots to take over the world and all of that old man jazz, but the thing is, he doesn't use that site evil energy on them by any means. Sure, you collect them with the first set of robots, but they don't seem to be utilizing that. If anything, the only one who uses that energy is Base, and that's pretty darn late in the game. So basically, if you remove the whole evil energy block, it would be still the same game. Yes, I know Duo is there, but he feels like he's only significant at the end of the game where he saves Mega Man. Beforehand, you fight him and he locates the Wily Castle, but that's all about it in my opinion. Considering that the introduction to the game had 2 alien robots fighting in space, I think you would feel hyped for something more intrigue to be done. But in the end, it only feels lackluster. I have talked about this in my messed up your theory video before, so if you want to check it out, it will be right above my head. YouTube magic, I swear. Let's now jump from a sequel to another. Lots of people grumbled about Mega Man 9 and kind of Mega Man 10 alongside with it, for being NES style again, specifically because they stripped Mega Man's ability to slide and charge shot. For a reason as it is, removing the ability to slide is pretty much an L giving to players and an odd choice. An uncomfortable one at that, since a lot of players enjoyed the ability to schmooze. There are others who like charge shotting too, to give them an easier time dealing with certain scenarios. However, it became a debatable take whether they are really good or not for those reasons alone. Some others consider supplemental aspects to talk about, like whether those games have good level design and if they are better than the preferable graphics of Mega Man 7 and 8 or so. Capcom generally made it to be a bit to sell for the nostalgic people who like the look of the older games. I mean, the gap between Mega Man and Base when it first released and Mega Man 9 is not that short enough to let Capcom make a notoriously easier game to make sprite-wise. So they intended to make it look like that and intentionally strip those features from Mega Man solely for that reason. But here's a debatable question. Are they really bad games? In my humble opinion, I consider both entries to be really well done. Even Mega Man 10 is on my top. Although doesn't mean I don't like Mega Man 9 as much. It got this fella, one of the better weapons, and the challenging level design. Same with Mega Man 10, except that I find its level layout a lot more appealing upon progressing and one of the more trickier weapons to get used to and like. Did the lack of sliding and charging affect the game heavily or at all though? In my opinion, it did not. Both games are designed thoroughly based on the default gameplay, with just your standard buster shots and jumping. Only difference is that the level design seems a lot more or a bit difficult since those games are not Mega Man 1 or 2 here, they are modeled differently. Although, those features are still in, but in the form of Proto Man. Proto Man is playable in both games, but as a DLC in Mega Man 9. Thing is, people do not like playing as Proto Man because his gameplay is much harder than Rock's. He takes double the damage as if his body is made of a jelly, and he has a very stupid knockback. But I see that is very fair. Even if locking abilities Mega Man already had is a little weird, I still prefer it that way, because Proto Man actually rewards you and compensates with harder gameplay to examine your skills in the game that way. You are not entirely helpless too, you do have a shield. One thing I don't see people tend to complain about for those games are their stories, and I'm honestly glad for that. They are a neat and interesting piece of lore, but could have gotten a slight polishing. So, being so retro in the form of those games was really bad? No, it wasn't. They are Gucci. I saved this one for last, since it is more intriguing to say the least. It is less known, however. For those who seeks lore and every detail, they would discuss about whether robots are really capable of taking critical decisions and thinking much like X does, since X is the first to ever own the ability to think like a human and decide like one. And when I mean robots, I mean the ones from the classic series. Few would wonder if some of those robots did even break their own law of robotics at their own will. The law of robotics talks simply about the fact that a robot cannot hurt a human. The best well-known scene regarding this is the ending of Mega Man 7. In there, after you defeat Wily from such a non-gentle fight, a scene will play, having Rock pointing his buster and charging up at Wily, pretty much wanting to kill him. However, Wily reminds him that he cannot harm a human even if he could. But then Mega Man replies with the infamous quote, "I am more than a robot, die Wily." This was in the English version, however. The Japanese version does not have that die Wily part, which pretty much hinders the whole spot there. Although, it doesn't still excuse the sudden timber Mega Man got in there. Does it mean that Mega Man did really snap and try to take his decision and potentially break the law? What about Bass? He does rebel against Wily as seen in Mega Man Bass, still in his mind to fight Wily after knowing that King was made by him, and in Mega Man 10 he does that because I think he felt like to. I mean, he does want to teach him a lesson, so he ultimately took a choice to do so by himself, I'm not sure. And speaking about King earlier, he did as well kind of betrayed Wily. After his loss, he thought about why do they fight and refuse to fight further until Wily brainwashed him. And the most interesting of them all is Proto Man. His scenario feels vague, but he ran away from Dr. Light to try and find himself, basically. Wily reprogrammed him, but even after his defeat to Mega Man, he still escapes, refusing to go back. And you can't convince me otherwise that Scarf user does not take his own choices. This guy appears randomly sometimes. Oh, you saved Cossack's daughter? Where would you have been beforehand, buddy? What? You are on a rampage? Oh, my bad, I will give you a pass. How did you get in here, bro? And from where you got this valuable item? Most importantly, why do we need to crack a block to get to you? Why didn't we meet outside? How the heck are you even in here? I had to use Rush to even get in this place. What type of dose is it, bro? As clearly seen, he does do his stuff without an order. And there are other examples too, but I won't cover all. Some people question their behaviors, and some do not give a crap whatsoever and just rule with it because, character arc. But what I think is, that's a part of their programmed chips. And when it comes to the moments in which they kind of snap or become abnormal, very sure it is because of the critical situations they are in. Mega Man abruptly wanted to shoot Wily out of his will because, well, first he got tired of all of this since the last time he fought him and he got arrested, so of course it would be too much for Mega Man. Second, it's Wily Capsule 7, so of course Base's goals are to defeat Mega Man, so whatever comes to prove his superiority is an easy task for Base, even if it means rebelling against your own creator. And finally, with Proto Man, his whole life is already a critical one, so why wouldn't he act like that, you know? Well, anyways, that is it all for this part. Hopefully I'll pick some more ridiculous stakes down the line. But hey, it would be appreciated if you did leave a like, would help a ton too. Anyways, thanks a ton for watching, folks. See you all soon.